The Raiders lost 24-0 to the New Orleans Saints, who we should have never lost 24-0 to.
Correct.
Is it time to panic for the Las Vegas Raiders?
I think the time to panic was when we fell to 0-4, if I'm being honest, or what is it, 0-3 or whatever that record was, just because, I feel like we played the Broncos, won that game. We played well, so it gave us our confidence. Obviously, we, had another pretty decent game against the Houston Texans. I will argue, though, that our defense was horrid in that game. We just so happened to outscore them, which I know is the point of the game, but it was not the greatest showing. Yeah. And, I think I wouldn't be panicking so much if the way that we lost wasn't so apparent. No defense. Didn't make the flight. Didn't make it to New Orleans for some reason. Don't know. Same thing with the offense. And I don't know what's going on with Derek Carr. I know that there was a report that came out that he's dealing with a back issue, which affected his mechanics and this, that, and the other. Okay, probably true. But I know that he's played through pain before. And I know that he's had way better outings than that while pain or injured or whatnot. So I just feel like that was a bad game plan. I felt like that was an indictment on Josh McDaniels not preparing the guys. I felt like, you and I talked about this, the fact that there's so much regression from the players of last year that they're not even improved, they're worse. And, that only comes with coaching. And I also blame that because the majority of these players are veterans. That's a veteran problem. Yes, they're holding themselves accountable, but clearly they weren't. Either they were a little higher on themselves than what they should have been, or they just went into New Orleans thinking that the Saints were going to roll over because they were missing their number one corner. They were missing their two best receivers. They were only playing against Andy Dalton. And there's a lot more to say about it, but I think what's frustrating is I hear a lot of excuses on why we can't produce, but I see no changes to get the result that we want. I just see, we're working on it. I get it. Then pick a lane then. Are we rebuilding or are we winning now? Because right now I'm getting win now vibes. That's what I've heard all camp. That's what I heard all throughout the preseason and all that. Like, we're ready to win now. Okay, great. I'm buying into it. And now we look like a team that doesn't deserve to be on the football field with another team with how bad we are. We didn't cross the 50 until the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter with a backup quarterback during garbage time. And I'm not saying that the Saints have this bad defense. Is it a very good defense? Yes. I would argue, though, I felt like our offense was good enough to penetrate it. We went against the Broncos defense that's rated higher than the Saints. Yeah. And we did fine. We beat them. I don't know what the difference was with the Saints. So, I mean, I was very heated in that part of it just because it's not the fact that we lost that bothers me. It's how we lost, how badly we lost. We didn't even deserve to touch a football. And it's making me think now, and I know we'll talk about this. It's the next question that's coming up. But I just had a lot of feelings and frustration about, this is the same thing I keep seeing. And I feel like the fool that bought into it because, we had all this promise that's coming. And we look no better than a JV high school team. And that was a poor showing that we had on Sunday. And I'm sure the players feel that. But as a fan who bought into the hype, and I'm included on this, I totally jumped on that hype train. I feel betrayed. That's like my first instinct of how bad we lost and where we're at. So yeah, I'm a little panicked, but I'm also more frustrated. I'm ready for this to not be the same result that everybody else in the league knows what's going to happen, except for us. We're always like the last ones to know, and it's frustrating. That's like how it feels at times.
Yeah, I'm frustrated with the coaching. Now I'm going to say this. I'm not ready to panic yet because I have to look at it long term. And long term tells me I don't think McDaniels is going to be away. But I am going to put this on McDaniels. Exactly what you said, and kind of what you were talking about, how you and I had been talking about all week about you don't have Derek Carr, Darren Waller, Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfrow, Chandler Jones, Josh Jacobs, you don't have all that talent, and majority of those players, offensive line, defensive line, linebackers, secondary, you don't have all those guys, and basically everybody except for a few people like Jacobs, Adams, regress.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's crazy how much the Raiders have regressed from last year from a special teams coach. That's what drives me nuts. We bought into the hype not because of who Josh McDaniels is or where he came from. It's what we thought, okay, he learned from his mistakes. He's an offensive guy. Where's the NFL leaning towards? Well, it's leaning towards offense. Where are you getting him? Oh, you're giving him the best receiver in the game. You're giving him in my opinion, and I'll still say this, I believe he is a top 10 quarterback or top 10 caliber quarterback in Derek Carr. You have in my opinion, arguably a top 10 running back. And you have a defense who you have Max Crosby, who's one of the best pass rushers in the game. And then you were adding, at the time, one of the best pass rushers in the game in Chandler Jones. And then you were giving him Nate Hobbs, who thrived last year and got even better this year. Rock Ya-Sin from the Colts, he's actually been really good. And then Trayvon Merrick, who had a great rookie year, he's coming back. So there's a lot of guys. And then Denzel Perriman, who's a guy who led the team in tackles, but not only that, was a big impact player as a linebacker on the defensive side for the Raiders. And it seems like literally almost all of those players have regressed. It doesn't make sense to me. I'm sorry. I know I'm a big fan of Derek Carr, and maybe that's clouding my vision, but I really don't think it's all Derek Carr. I really don't. I think he's being pressured a lot, of course. Maybe he has an injury, I don't know, but I find it weird that Hunter Renfrow is like a no-show now. Darren Waller never plays. Chandler Jones, I don't really put that on Derek Carr because, he plays on a different side of the ball. Chandler Jones has been a no-show. I mean, Max Crosby has literally done it himself. Denzel Perriman has been okay. Trayvon Merrick, actually, I feel like he's been okay. Rock Ya-Sin, he's been good, but Nate Hobbs is injured. I mean, it just seems like all these players, for some reason, are regressing. And I put that on coaching. And I think we got blinded with what the Raiders did in the offseason, going after Adams, Rock Ya-Sin, as we mentioned, Chandler Jones. We saw what they did, but we didn't really think about how he was going to work with Josh McDaniels. I think we thought, okay, offensively, he's going to be good because that's what he does. And, last time, when it failed, he had Tim Tebow as his quarterback. So, it's Tebow. But I think now we're seeing maybe, maybe, it was McDaniels.